The Bold and the Beautiful is no stranger to high-stakes drama, but the latest storyline surrounding Liam Spencer's shocking brain tumor diagnosis threatens to upend everything viewers thought they knew about one of the show's most complex yet consistently good characters. Liam, the seemingly eternal romantic, the conflicted but well-meaning heart of many love triangles, is now facing not just a medical crisis, but potentially a total transformation of character, personality, and purpose. And it might not end in death, but in something even more dramatic: reinvention. The initial bombshell came when Finn, Bridget Forrester, Grace Buckingham, and a full team of specialists delivered the dire news Liam has a massive inoperable brain tumor. No surgical option, no hope, no alternatives. Just a death sentence cloaked in white coats and sterile hospital lighting. For a character like Liam, whose arc has always leaned more toward emotional angst and romantic indecision than life-threatening stakes, this diagnosis landed like a thunderclap. But that's not all. What makes this even more provocative is how little effort the doctors seem to be putting into saving him. No experimental treatments. No clinical trials. Not even radiation or targeted therapy. Just an immediate conclusion: the tumor is inoperable and Liam is living on borrowed time. This medical defeatism is jarring, even by soap standards. Fans on social media are crying foul, and for good reason. In the real world, people fight tumors like this with everything they've got: chemotherapy, radiation, alternative medicine. But in Liam's case, the experts threw in the towel before even stepping into the ring. Which brings us to the real intrigue. Because if they're not planning to kill Liam, what are they planning to do? All signs point to transformation, not expiration. And if that's the case, the tumor storyline is less about mortality and more about rewriting Liam from the inside out. A brain tumor, after all, isn't just a physical threat. It's a potential personality time bomb. Anyone who's ever witnessed or experienced neurological trauma knows that when the brain is under siege, even the most stable, kind, and predictable people can become unrecognizable. Mood swings, aggression, paranoia, impulsive behavior. It's not fiction, it's science. So imagine this: Liam survives. Against all odds, a treatment is found. Maybe the tumor shrinks. Maybe a cutting-edge surgery is performed. Maybe it vanishes completely, leaving him with a clean bill of health. But the Liam who walks out of that hospital is not the Liam who walked in. The tumor didn't just threaten his life, it rewired his brain. This is where the real story begins. Liam Spencer has always been the sensitive one. He's the guy who questions himself, who agonizes over every decision, who oscillates endlessly between the women in his life. He's the anti-Bill: emotional, diplomatic, reflective. He's been infuriating, yes, especially when caught in his eternal cycle between Hope Logan and Steffy Forrester. But he's also been reliable in his morality. A little too earnest. A little too good. That may be about to change. Because if Liam comes out the other side of this tumor with a darker edge, if the trauma he's endured snaps something inside him, then everything shifts. What if the new Liam isn't interested in being sweet anymore? What if he's no longer interested in playing peacemaker or being the man caught between two women? What if, instead, he starts to channel his inner Bill Spencer, calculating, dominant, controlling? We could see a complete reversal. Imagine Liam walking back into Hope's life with a hardened stare, a sharper tongue, and an agenda that no longer includes emotional fragility. She's been preparing for reconciliation, believing that this brush with death has brought him clarity. But instead of the tender lover she remembers, she finds a man who's cold, impatient, maybe even manipulative. He might not even want her anymore. Or worse, he wants her, but on his terms, and those terms are entirely different now. Hope's devastation would be monumental. She's already made emotional sacrifices to find her way back to Liam, believing in the possibility of forever. For her to come so close only to find a stranger in his place would shatter her. Steffi, too, would be rocked. She's seen Liam vulnerable, broken, conflicted. She's seen him fight for his family, for peace. She's never seen him dangerous. But this new Liam? He might not respect boundaries. He might pursue her again not out of love, but out of entitlement, ego, or twisted nostalgia. And if Finn stands in his way, the conflict could explode into something ugly. Liam might challenge him not with words, but with power plays. Strategic attacks. Gaslighting. Emotional manipulation. Even Bill Spencer would have to reevaluate. For years, Bill has tried to shape Liam into a version of himself, a shark, a man who doesn't second guess, who takes what he wants. Liam always resisted. But now, with the tumor rattling the cage, maybe that resistance crumbles. Maybe Liam starts acting more like Dollar Bill than anyone expected. And maybe that terrifies even Bill himself. There's also the potential for a complete shift in Liam's professional life. What if he suddenly wants power? Real power. What if he decides to go after Spencer Publications not as a reluctant heir, but as a man determined to take control? He could challenge Bill. He could demand full authority. And he might be ruthless about it. No more Mr. Nice Guy. No more idealistic crusader. Just ambition, raw and unfiltered. This wouldn't be a simple heel turn. This would be a psychological metamorphosis. The Liam everyone knew and loved waffle flaws and all could disappear. In his place, a man unrecognizable to his friends, his family, and most tragically, to himself. He might start pushing people away, cutting ties, making dangerous decisions. It could even reach a point where those who love him most hope, Steffi, Wyatt, have to intervene to pull him back from the brink. If they still can. What makes this storyline so chilling is that it's grounded in reality. Brain tumors, neurological trauma, personality shifts, these aren't soap tropes. They're real. They happen. And when they do, the consequences ripple out in every direction. So how does this affect Hope? Her emotional world will be decimated. She's been holding onto the belief that Liam is her destiny. She made peace with Steffi. She opened herself to the idea of family again. But if Liam becomes cold, erratic, or even cruel, it could push Hope into a dark place of her own. Disillusioned. Grieving not a death, but a loss of identity. The man she loved is alive, but he's not him anymore. And that might be harder to accept than a funeral. Steffi, too, could face a crisis. Especially if Liam starts coming around, disrupting her marriage, or attempting to manipulate the children for leverage. Finn would be forced to take a stand. And if Liam challenges him, it could ignite a full-scale war, professional, personal, and possibly violent. This shift would also affect Ridge, Brooke, Thomas, and others. The ripple effect of a darkened Liam could fracture alliances, destroy partnerships, and challenge everyone's perception of what makes a person good. After all, if someone like Liam can change this drastically, is anyone truly safe from the darkness? In the end, this could be Scott Clifton's most compelling storyline yet. An opportunity to reinvent Liam from the ground up. Not through a plot twist, not through a secret identity or a long-lost twin, but through something hauntingly plausible, the aftershock of trauma. Viewers would be riveted watching him navigate this descent or possibly climb back from it. Because maybe, just maybe, Liam doesn't stay in the dark forever. Maybe he fights his way back to the man he was. Maybe he redeems himself. But that journey would be long, painful, and filled with betrayal, loss, and uncertainty. One thing's for sure. If Brad Bell and the writing team commit to this path, the bold and the beautiful won't just keep viewers hooked, it will redefine Liam Spencer in a way that no one saw coming. not with a death, but with something far more unpredictable. Resurrection as someone new, someone bold, someone beautiful, and someone dangerously changed. Carter Walton has always carried himself with elegance, measured, calm, and quietly romantic, but in this episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, we see the very foundation of his heart begin to crumble. Alone in his office, disillusioned and emotionally drained, Carter returns to the familiar space that once gave him focus and order. But today, the walls feel colder. The silence feels heavier. The heartbreak runs deeper. His thoughts are still entangled with Hope Logan, with everything she represented, and everything she ultimately couldn't give him. As he enters, he stumbles into a conversation already in progress. Brooke Logan stands confidently in the center of the room, speaking with purpose, asserting her opinion about Hope and Carter's relationship. She's just been speaking with Daphne Rose, ever curious, ever observant about what's been brewing between Carter and Hope. Brooke defends her daughter fiercely, insisting Hope has every right to work at Forrester Creations and every right to pursue happiness, even if that happiness once seemed to point toward Carter. She doesn't hesitate to tell Daphne that Carter and Hope were meant to be, despite everything that's gone wrong. Daphne, graceful and composed, absorbs every word, but her silence says more than her responses. There's a tension in the air that only Carter's arrival cuts through. He steps into the conversation with deliberate intensity and asks to speak privately with Daphne. Brooke, startled by the timing and the rawness in his voice, gives them space but remains visibly concerned. Carter waits for Brooke to exit before facing Daphne with the vulnerable truth. She was right all along. Hope was never his. Not really. Not fully. And maybe he'd been fooling himself all along. Maybe Daphne saw what he couldn't or wouldn't see. There's a pause, thick with emotion. Carter no longer wants to be in the office. The reminders of his failed relationship with Hope surround him. The desk where they whispered plans. The hallway where they brushed hands. The conference room where he once imagined a future that would never come to pass. It's all too much. He invites Daphne to leave with him, to go somewhere far from the ghosts of what could have been. She agrees, gently but firmly. Daphne sees the hurt in Carter's eyes. The man who has always been the pillar of strength is finally cracking, and she's not about to let him collapse alone. Back at his place, the mood shifts. The lighting is warm. The silence is less oppressive. But Carter is still carrying the weight of years of heartbreak, and Daphne, attentive as ever, doesn't miss a beat. As they sit, the conversation unfolds slowly but intensely. Carter reflects on his history with women. On all the times he thought he'd found something real, only to be left with more questions than closure. He recounts failed hopes, one after another. Quinn, Zoe, Katie, and now Hope. Each woman took a piece of him, each departure a scar. He's tired of bleeding, tired of believing. Daphne listens, not with judgment, not with impatience. She listens with the steadiness of someone who knows what it means to feel invisible. She tells him he's not broken. He's just been giving his love to people who weren't ready to receive it. She assures him that he doesn't have to keep chasing something that hurts. Your heart, she says, deserves peace. I won't let it shatter again. Carter doesn't reply right away. His eyes search hers, trying to determine if this moment is real or another beautiful illusion. But the sincerity in Daphne's voice wraps around him like a balm, and slowly, he starts to let himself believe. Just a little. He leans in, and she doesn't move away. The space between them disappears. The ache of past love fades for a moment, replaced by the warmth of something new, something safe, something just beginning. As the intensity builds between them, the camera shifts. Elsewhere, Hope is in a completely different place both physically and emotionally. Liam, still recovering from his own trauma and facing his uncertain future, surprises her with a rare moment of clarity. He tells Hope that maybe it's not him she should be with. Maybe it never was. Maybe Carter is the one who truly saw her. He encourages her to revisit that possibility, to reconsider the man who stood by her without expectations, without conditions. It's a turning point for Hope. Until now, she's been unsure, caught between guilt, duty, and longing. But Liam's words awaken something in her, a flicker of resolve. She decides she needs to see Carter. Now, before it's too late. Hope makes her way to Carter's home, heart pounding, thoughts racing. She's replaying their last conversation in her mind, wondering if there's still a chance to mend what's been broken. But what she doesn't know is that she's walking into a moment she may never be able to unsee. Back at Carter's, the passion between him and Daphne finally ignites. After years of putting everyone else first, Carter is finally letting go. The kisses are desperate, the touches tender but charged. They're two people trying to rewrite their stories, and for a moment, it feels like they might succeed. Then the door opens. Hope stands in the doorway, frozen. Her eyes widen as she sees Carter and Daphne tangled in an embrace that leaves no room for doubt. Time stops. Carter and Daphne separate, startled, their faces mirroring the same realization. Everything has just changed. Hope's expression is unreadable, hurt, stunned, angry, maybe all of it. She wasn't just looking for Carter. She was looking for closure, for reconnection, for maybe even a new beginning. But what she found was confirmation that she's too late. Carter, stunned, rises. He tries to speak, but the words catch in his throat. Daphne looks between them, quietly absorbing the scene, her hands still trembling from the intensity of their moment. Hope takes a slow step back, then turns and walks away without a word. What follows is a silence more deafening than any argument. Carter stands alone in the middle of the room, realizing that even when he tries to move on, the past always finds a way back in. Daphne, now sitting, doesn't leave. She doesn't storm out. She waits. And after a long pause, Carter sits beside her. He doesn't apologize, not yet. He doesn't know what to say. He only knows this. The emotional chaos he thought he left behind is still very much alive, and now he's caught between two women who see different versions of the man he wants to be. In the days to come, this moment will ripple through the lives of everyone involved. Brooke will confront Carter for moving on too fast. Hope will question whether Carter was ever truly waiting for her. Daphne will have to decide whether to fight for the man she just started to believe could be hers. And Carter, torn between loyalty, love, and self-preservation, will have to choose whether to run again or finally stand still. And as for Liam? He may have pushed Hope toward Carter thinking it would help her heal. But he never expected it to hurt her this much. And if his advice inadvertently led to heartbreak, he'll have to ask himself what his role is in all this, and whether he's really ready to let Hope go at all. The bold and the beautiful doesn't deal in half measures. Every word has weight. Every glance has meaning. And every kiss, every betrayal, every door that opens too late, sets the stage for consequences no one can escape. This isn't just a love triangle. It's a collision of timing, truth, and emotional survival. And the fallout has only just begun.